After a mistake ruins their vacation, a family schemes their way into staying in the beach paradise and impressing their matriarch's rival. Sergei takes his wife, Sveta, and their son, Andrei, to vacation in Turkey. During the bus ride to their hotel, another passenger's son needs to relieve himself, but the vehicle isn't allowed to stop yet. Sergei decides to help and let the kid relieve himself through the window. This gets the Russian family kicked off the bus. They walk the rest of the way to the hotel, only for Sergei to realize that he booked their reservation for next year. Panicked, Sergei tries to bribe the hotel manager, Ali, into letting them stay, but his money turns out to be fake since he exchanged them from a suspicious office. With this, Ali threatens him to leave. With no choice, Sergei admits to his wife that he booked the hotel for next year. A seething Sveta berates him and orders him to buy them tickets home. But since Sergei lost all his money, he lies that he already called the airport, but they're fully booked. Frustrated, Sveta insists on heading to the airport and waiting for the next available flight. She also reminds him that this was his last chance to fix their marriage. As they head out, Sveta's childhood friend, Vika, arrives with her husband, Pasha. Seeing the beautiful and wealthy woman makes Sveta envious, so she lies that they just booked their suite. Meanwhile, Andrei chances upon Vika's daughter, Christina, outside. Back at the hotel, Vika boasts about Pasha's promotion that made their trip possible. Not wanting to lose face, Sveta lies that Sergei was also recently promoted, and pretends that they need to head up to their suite, so the other couple says their goodbyes and leaves. Irritated that Vika is also there, Sveta asserts that she won't talk to her husband until he buys their tickets home. Pressured, Sergei suggests they enjoy the beach for now. That afternoon, Vika shares with her husband how she's glad that Sveta and Sergei seem to still be passionate about each other, inspiring her to do something romantic. However, Pasha isn't good at romantic things, so he gives her money to plan something for them. With this, Vika goes to her daughter and pays her to hang out with Andrei tonight, so she and Pasha can have some privacy. Without question, Christina accepts. Sergei later asks his son to help convince Sveta to stay at the beach so he can win her back. In exchange, he promises to convince Sveta to stop treating Andrei like a child. Sergei then goes to the hotel restaurant to grab dinner, but is refused since he doesn't have the bracelet that marks him as a guest. Elsewhere, Christina gets bored of Andrei talking about computers, so she steals a hotel cart to ride with him. The cart, however, belongs to Ali, so he chases them. As the night gets late, Sergei becomes desperate and catches fish in a fountain for dinner. A couple of guests see him, so they report this to security. Meanwhile, Andrei jumps off the speeding cart but hits his head on a pool umbrella. This forces Christina to stop the cart, though when they hear Ali catching up, they run, dropping Andrei's cap in the process. Ali picks up the cap and sees that the label is in Russian, making him think that Sergei might be involved. After he leaves, the teens who are hiding in the pool finally exit the water, though Andrei can't help but notice Christina's wet shirt. She dismisses his gaze and removes the shirt to wring it dry. Andrei then wonders if he'll see her again tomorrow, and Christina replies that it'll be up to her mother. At the beach, Sveta notices a luxurious dinner being prepared. To her surprise, it's for Vika and Pasha, so she hides behind her chair to avoid them. Despite the romantic dinner, Vika finds her husband still inattentive. With nothing else to do, she decides to call Sveta, but hears the woman's phone nearby. She follows the sound and sees Sveta pretending to sleep on the beach, so Vika invites her to join them for dinner. Sveta sits with them but refuses to eat, claiming that Sergei is picking up a fancy meal for her. Just then, her husband arrives, boasting about the fish he caught and roasted. Quickly, Sveta lies that they have an exclusive package that allows them to catch their food for a more authentic experience. Ali soon passes by, and to avoid being recognized, Sergei kisses his wife until the man leaves. The other couple then asks about their exclusive package, and to avoid the topic, Sergei goes to swim in the ocean. His wife then lies that he swam in the ocean and caught a fish during their first date, so this is his way of commemorating it. Hearing this, Vika admires how Sergei remembers details like that. The comment makes Pasha jealous, so he invites Vika to return to their room for some privacy. After they leave, Sveta calls her husband back to finish their dinner. Andrei soon arrives and apologizes to his mother for losing his cap. Later, Sergei breaks into a vacant hotel room for them to spend the night in. Meanwhile, Pasha pretends to have a cold as he takes a business call in their room. Just then, Vika walks in to seduce him, but Pasha postpones their activities, disappointing her. In the morning, Sergei discovers that the room they stayed in was connected to one where another family sleeps. He uses the chance to steal their bracelets to gain access to the hotel amenities. However, one of the guests wakes up, so Sergei wears stockings over his face to hide his identity as he demands the bracelets from the guests. Scared, the others hand them over, and the guilty Sergei gives them his hat as compensation. With the family out of a room again, Sveta berates her husband for his failure and forces Andrei to wear one of her hats to shield his face from the sun, much to the teen's dismay. To make her feel better, Sergei reveals the bracelets he took, allowing them into the hotel buffet. Unbeknownst to them, the guests they stole from report the event to Ali. Their daughter even managed to snap a photo of the thief, and Ali recognizes him as Sergei. Despite their lavish breakfast, Sveta is still pissed that they had no room, so Sergei pretends to call the airport to get them home. As he does, he sees Ali warning the security guards about their unwanted guest. Sergei then returns to his wife and lies that he still couldn't get them tickets, so have to stay. Later, at the hotel's golf course, Sergei plans to invite Pasha there to show off. However, security is searching the place, so when his wife, Vika, and Pasha arrive later, they find Sergei with a tiger face paint to mask his identity, though he claims that this is because he lost a bet. Meanwhile, Andrei meets Christina, who teases him about his feminine hat. The man defends that his mother is just worried about sunburn, and Christina comments that he's lucky since her family doesn't care that much. Just then, Christina's friend, Rusik, arrives and invites Andrei to play ping pong, betting that whoever loses will jump into the pool unclothed. The game starts, and though Andrei seems to have a chance, Rusik eventually beats him. At the golf course, Vika also bets that whichever team loses will foot their bill. Sveta accepts, given how Pasha seems weak in golf. However, she's also new to golf, so when it's her turn, she also misses. To avoid losing, Sergei changes the bet. Whoever the waiter hands the bill to will pay for it instead. He then excuses himself to get ice. Eventually, Vika wins against Sveta in golf. She celebrates by hugging her husband, but this is interrupted when he takes a business call. Just then, the waiter arrives and gives the bill to Pasha. Sveta then announces that she and her husband will go and relax in their suite. However, Vika suggests that they visit their room sometime to see it. Vika's suggestion makes Sveta think that the woman is suspicious of her. She later blames Sergei's face paint and tricks for this, knowing that he gave his watch to the waiter to get him to give the bill to Pasha. Just then, they find Andrei with the same tiger face paint after losing the bet. He then jumps into the pool unclothed, horrifying his mother. That night, Sergei leads his family to spend the night in the Peacock House of the hotel. He's even set up the area to be more accommodating, impressing Sveta. However, when she checks the flowers he got, she screams as a worm lands on her arm. Ali and the guards hear this from outside, so they rush to the Peacock House. Sergei runs out to distract them, but Ali stops to check the Peacock House first. Thankfully, he gets distracted by the sound of a lion's roar outside. He and the guards follow the sound and discover that it's coming from Sergei's abandoned phone. Meanwhile, Vika tries to seduce her husband again, but he's too busy with work. Pissed, she suggests that she sleep with someone else instead, and since he isn't paying attention, Pasha encourages her. In the morning, Sveta texts her husband, asking if he went to the stage storeroom since he didn't return to them last night. Nearby, Vika asks Christina to hang out with Andrei again, but her daughter is frustrated with how her mother keeps sending her away. Vika defends that Christina behaves around a nerdy kid like Andrei, believing that her daughter needs someone calm and smart. However, Christina likens this to her inattentive father. Meanwhile, Ali receives Sveta's message to Sergei, leading him to check the storeroom. They find it empty with the window open, so they head out to search, not knowing that Sergei is still in the room, wearing a giraffe costume. He soon joins his wife and warns her that Ali is on the lookout for him and now has his cell phone. Sveta urges her husband to just get them home, but Sergei finally admits that he accidentally exchanged their money with fake bills. Angered, Sveta walks off. Just then, Sergei spots Ali using a keycard. With an idea in mind, he chases after Sveta and promises her the luxury suite to show off to Vika. At the pool, Vika surprises her husband with a cake to celebrate 40 days of him not touching her. Pasha asks her not to cause a scene, but his wife throws his tablet into the pool and smashes the cake in his face. Elsewhere, Andrei meets with Christina and Rusik. Rusik challenges the teen to a game of foosball. Whoever loses will push the person the winner chooses into the pool. To convince Andrei to agree, he even allows Christina to help him, making the game 2 against 1. With this, they play the game, and Andrei and Christina actually start winning. The excitement even gets Christina to hug her teammate, though he holds her too long, making things awkward. In the end, however, Rusik wins again, so he starts scouting for the victim the two will push into the pool. Nearby, Ali gets a message that Sergei will be by the pool, so he goes there. Unbeknownst to him, Sergei is luring him to try to steal his keycard while in costume. Ali tries fighting off the costumed man when Andrei sees them. To save his father, Andrei pushes Ali into the water before leading Sergei away. Rusik and Christina stand in shock as Ali pulls himself out of the water. However, Ali recognizes Rusik as one of the hotel workers, so he puts away his keys before scolding the man for not helping him. Because of this, he fires Rusik, not knowing that Sveta is nearby to swipe his keys. Rusik later berates Andrei for getting him fired. Given this, Christina also mocks the teen for being evil like his mother. Meanwhile, Pasha scolds his wife for breaking his tablet, reminding her that he already faked being sick so they can have this vacation. Vika argues that he was always working so he never noticed that their marriage was collapsing. She reminds him that he's a father and a husband, not an ATM. Pasha defends that this ATM paid for everything she has. Offended that he'd use his money against her, Vika slaps him. Because of this, when they visit Sveta's supposed suite, Pasha has claw marks on his face. With Andrei keeping watch outside, his parents tend to their guests. However, Andrei sees Christina and Rusik kissing outside before heading somewhere. Worried that things will escalate between them, Andrei goes after them. Meanwhile, Ali realizes that his keycard was stolen, so he orders a receptionist to check which rooms are available for Sergei to have infiltrated, threatening her when she gets suspicious of the request. Elsewhere, Andrei finds Christina in Rusik's room as he packs his belongings. The two end up flirting and kissing, so Andrei grabs a peacock and throws it over the window to distract them. At the suite, Sergei and his guests prepare to leave, only to find a bellboy and the actual hotel guests arriving. Panicked, Sergei locks the door and prepares an escape, admitting to Vika and Pasha that this isn't their suite. However, Sveta adds another lie, claiming that her husband's accounts were frozen since Interpol was investigating their ministry. Ali is soon called, so he has a repairman unlock the door while Sergei ties a makeshift rope over the balcony. However, this is only to make Ali think they climb down while they head to the rooftop. The whole escape plan excites Vika, but when she and Pasha get to their room, her husband worries that the other couple might put them in danger. In contrast, Vika admires them for having adventures, even complimenting Sergei for being exciting, not like her boring husband. Offended, Pasha threatens his wife, but Christina appears from the balcony, having heard their argument. The parents tell her to go to her room since they're busy, but their daughter argues that they're always too busy for her. Pissed, she tells them to get a divorce before storming off. Meanwhile, Ali finds a peacock feather in the suite, leading him to believe that Sergei is staying at the peacock house. Andrei passes by and hears this, so he hurriedly warns his parents. Just in time, they hear the guards arriving, so they hide as the men search the peacock's house and confiscate their luggage. From their bags, Ali finds their passports, giving him clear photos of the family to put up as wanted posters around the hotel. However, the head of security, Yusuf, complains that this will scare away the guests, which Ali doesn't care about. Finally accepting defeat, Sveta calls Vika to ask for help in getting them home. Since Pasha forbade her from interacting with her family, Vika just tells her that they're heading to the hotel concert tonight. After the call, Sveta berates her husband for forcing her to ask Vika for help. This makes him wonder if divorce might be better for them. But their son tells them to stop arguing over this while they're in hiding. This turns their focus on him, with both parents criticizing him for falling for Christina. Pissed that they're always restricting him based on their own mistakes, Andrei stresses that he isn't like either of them, so they should leave him alone. With that, he walks off. Hoping to speak to Vika, Sveta later gets her face painted as a disguise while searching the concert venue. Meanwhile, Andrei tries to steal alcohol from the bar to drown his misery, but his father stops him. The teen argues that getting drunk is better than thinking of his parents divorcing, so the guilty father decides to let his son blow off some steam and steals liquor for him. The two drink together as Andrei laments how Christina chose Rusik over him. Sergei advises that women need to be surprised by what they can do, so he urges Andrei not to give up. Andrei challenges him to try as well with his wife. This is her first time abroad, and she wanted to experience the sea or go on the yacht. However, they ended up with scraps for their vacation. Hearing this, Sergei decides to make things right. At the concert venue, Sveta finally finds Vika and Pasha, only to also spot her husband on stage. With the help of the performers, Sergei addresses his wife from the audience. He admits that they might get a divorce when they go home, but before then, he dedicates a song to her. His performance brings tears to not only Sveta's eyes but to the audience's as well. Even Pasha is moved by his romantic gesture. However, his show allows Ali to find him. Elsewhere, Christina kisses Rusik in his room but refuses to take things further. Rusik insists, but thankfully, Andrei arrives to stop him, leading to a brawl. At the concert, Ali orders the guards to capture Sergei, but Yusuf is impressed by the man's boldness, so he tells his men to let him finish the song. Finally, Sergei's song ends, and he surrenders himself to the guards. Refusing to let him give up, Pasha yells to Sergei to run, so the man dodges the guards while his new friend holds them off. Some of the men in the audience also join the fight, allowing Pasha and Vika to escape and join Sergei and Sveta on their stolen cart. Ali and the guards chase after them while Rusik throws Andrei out of his room. Christina tries to stop him, but suddenly, Sergei runs over his son's opponent with the cart. Christina and Andrei join their parents as they wildly drive around the hotel with the guards on their tail. They soon reach the beach where fire dancers are performing. One of the dancers gets distracted by the carts, causing her to throw her flaming prop into the air. Sergei stops just in time to see the flaming ball land into a truck full of gas tanks, so he quickly warns everyone to evacuate while he drives the truck away. He takes the truck to an empty part of the beach, and soon, his group watches an explosion from afar. The others rush to the site, and Sveta mourns the loss of her husband. Thankfully, Sergei emerges from the vehicle, unharmed. His wife and son embrace him, and the heat of the moment has Pasha pulling his wife into an intense kiss. Seeing her parents finally being romantic, Christina throws her arms around them too. Their celebration, however, ends when the police arrive. Both families end up in jail, where Sveta finally confesses that they arrived at the hotel too early. However, seeing Vika all rich and beautiful provoked her into lying about their lives. Sympathizing with her, Vika admits that they also have their own troubles, so she envied how Sveta and her family were close. The families and Ali soon meet with the chief of police, the hotel owner, and the minister of tourism. All of them had discussed the situation, and given Sergei's actions last night, they decided to reward him for saving the hotel guests from the explosion. Surprised, Ali argues that the man is a criminal, but the officials have also studied the manager's actions while pursuing the man. They find him guilty of abusing his power, so Ali gets taken away while Sergei's family is awarded a free deluxe room at the hotel. This finally gives Sveta the yacht ride she's been dreaming of, even having Ali as their personal waiter. At the same time, Pasha and Vika reignite their passion, while Andrei finally gets to kiss his dream girl by the ocean.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.